Welcome to the Midweek Mailbag, your Detroit Lions midweek podcast, where we answer your Detroit Lions question live here on YouTube, live on Twitch, and available on any podcasting platform that you like. My name is Jeremy Reisman. I'm the producer at Pride of Detroit, and my video likes to pause apparently today, but we're going to continue to roll through it because you can hear me just fine. You can find me at Detroit Online on social if I didn't say that already. With me, as always, is the not the senior editor, the managing editor, I should say.
There you
go. The Machine, and you can find him at Eric Schlitt on Twitter. It's Eric Schlitt. How we doing, buddy?
Hey, buddy. It's a hot one today. Hope you were able to stay cool as much as possible.
Yeah, I know you weren't.
No, I was not.
I do feel for the Lions players who I believe had an OTA practice today. Hopefully they got it done early in the day before it ramped up to 90 degrees or whatever it was today. But
yeah, it got close. Heat index like around noon or something like that was up pretty high, and so yeah, it's that time of the year, man. You got this week of OTAs, mandatory mini camp next week, and then the guys get a break.
Yeah.
And then we just all eyes start on training camp.
Yep. We are recording this Wednesday night. Thursday will be presumably the final OTA practice. It'll be the final OTA practice open to media. It's also supposed to be up to 89 degrees, so prepping for that tomorrow. And then, we'll get to two mini camp practices next week with media availability for both. But for this week's podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the news we got from last week regarding some of the injuries. We're going to talk about some of the players returning from injuries. We're going to talk some offensive line. We're going to talk some other podcasts talking about the Lions and whether we agree or disagree with some of their takes. All that on this week's mailbag. As always, if you want to submit any questions, you can send them to us on Twitter at Pride of Detroit, or if you're a Pride of Detroit direct subscriber, you can always send one via our email newsletter. But let's go right to the questions here. Our first question here comes from Ash Soden. Says, with the Kendrick Law injury, has the battle for returner and gunner positions become more or less murky? Who should fans look to in these positions now, aside from Khalil Dorsey, who we all know is one of the best gunners in the league?
It's a good question, because I think that's an aspect of the Kendrick Law injury that, I don't think it initially comes to people's minds, right? Most people think, like, what's it going to be? What's going to happen on offense, right? But special teams is really where he probably would have made his biggest impact on a game-by-game basis. So it's important to, I think, speculate on how the special teams, the four different phases of special teams are impacted by Law's injury, because I do think he was very much in the mix for some sort of gunner / returner type role. I don't know if they had any idea where he was going to be, but his skill set certainly translated to some of the things that they do in each phase. So I don't think it's like a clean answer, right? But the answer, Ash, I would say, I think it gets a little bit more murky, but not much more, because while Kendrick Law was in the mix, I don't think he was necessarily like the clear front runner, like where he wasn't going to face competition. So it means one less player to compete for that gunner spot, which we presumably think will be open opposite Khalil Dorsey. But guys like Christian Izien, guys like Keith Abney, maybe even Roger McCreary. Sure. I think those guys are going to be in the mix. Ennis Rakestraw should be in the mix for something like that. If Nick Whiteside ends up making the team, this could be a path for him. I don't know. It didn't really suit Thomas Harper. I don't know if Avonte Maddox has the speed for it anymore. He's still heady and smart, which is why he is still around. Dan Jackson makes a lot of sense, but they like him in other roles. And then even some of the UDFA rookie defensive backs, I think, will get in on the mix. I don't necessarily think Dortch, the wide receiver, Greg Dortch, will be in it, but I do think Dominic Lovett could be in the mix. So could see a little bit of receivers leak into that competition as well, but most of the time the defensive backs typically take those jobs.
Yeah, it is. And, you and I were talking about on the midweek mailbag for the Pride of Detroit Direct subscribers last week. Unbeknownst to us, we were talking maybe even simultaneously as the Law injury was happening, because I think we recorded on Tuesday, but we were talking about the the value of keeping a sixth wide receiver, or maybe even a seventh, and we brought up the fact that like Kendrick Law means maybe they keep one fewer safety, one fewer corner, and so now that his injury has happened and he's going to miss, if not all of the season, most of the season. They haven't officially put him on IR yet, but there's really no reason to believe his season isn't over. It does open up, like, the first guy that jumped to my mind, and not necessarily in this role, because I don't think, like you said, I think maybe he fits in other roles on special teams better, but is Dan Jackson, because he's a guy that I think they like a lot, and they like his special teams potential. But given how crowded that room is, they brought in two starting level talents in Christian Izien and Chuck Clark, on top of bringing Avonte Maddox back, on top of bringing Thomas Harper back, on top of having Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, although one or both of those guys are going to miss some time. It's a crowded room there. And given that, Terrion, DJ Reed, Roger McCreary, Rockison, Ennis Rakestraw, and Keith Abney are probably 6 locks at corner. Are you going to keep then 6 safeties as well? That's a lot of DBs. That's 12 DBs, which would be on the extreme high end. But if one of the guys that you're relying on playing special teams at wide receiver is no longer an option, it opens up at least the opportunity for 11 DBs. 12 is still kind of a lot, but I think so. So I think that's interesting. I think, it certainly could open up, even Khalil Dorsey. I didn't mention him amongst the locks at 6 corners, but now it feels like his chances of being on the team are a little bit better, because there is more urgency to need that at least one of your gunner positions. So it's interesting to me, where I think a lot of the conversation, like you said, is around, okay, what does this mean for the wide receiver room? I think the Kendrick Law injury might have more of an impact on the line's secondary and their depth chart there, more so than at wide receiver this year.
What's interesting about the players that we've named off is most of them have timed 40 times in the 4-4s, right? Thomas Harper, Izien, Dan Jackson, Abney, they're all in the 4-4s. Even Lovett in the 4-4s. I think he's 4-4 flat, actually. Dorsey didn't time because that was the COVID year when he didn't test, but he's in that range as well.
Sure.
And so the majority of those guys that I think are going to be in the mix are those guys that have that kind of 4-4 speed and can just get down the field in a hurry. A guy like Ennis, I think and even McCreary, they're, I think, going to be in the mix because they're most likely going to make the team, but they're more of 4-5 guys, right? So they're a little bit slower, which is going to impact them a little bit more in what is essentially for a gunner position, a race down the field, right?
Yep.
And so it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, but they have legitimate speed. In what we name 8 guys there.
Yeah.
Most of them are pretty good, and should make a nice competition at the gunner spot.
So that's the gunner. We didn't really talk about the returner part of this equation. I still think Greg Dortch is your punt returner until someone tells me otherwise. It feels like he was kind of earmarked for that role from the beginning, and they're not going to hand a job to anyone in June, but at the same time, I don't know if there's anyone else that's a legitimate competition for him, especially now with Kendrick Law. Maybe Lovett, maybe whatever, but the kick returning jobs to me are still very much wide open. And again, we talked a little bit about this on the midweek mailbag last week for PODD subscribers, but for the people that didn't hear that conversation, who do you like in that competition right now with Law out of the picture?
Yeah, I think Dortch is the front runner, and there's a good gap between him and what I think might be Dominic Lovett.
Sure.
As maybe the next guy, and there's a gap. There's a good gap between them. At kick returner, I think it's going to be Sailors and Vaki. Stylistically, they fit with what FIP has liked to roll out there in the past. It would be interesting to me to see if a guy like Lovett could get a chance there. If a guy like maybe Abney, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of history there, but he's got intriguing athleticism, and man, he can rollerblade, right? Like if he can,
Sure.
if he can, he's a speed skater.
Yeah.
He's got to know how to like weave through at high speeds. I'd roll the dice. Hey, if you're gonna play a linebacker back there, why not roll it, take the dice and roll it on a speed skater? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think it's those. I think the running backs are the clear front runners for kick returner for me. Dortch is a clear front runner for punt returner for me, and I think it's their jobs to lose.
It's always hard to tell during practice.
Oh yeah,
Because some of these running backs are also, they're going to be in kick coverage. They're going to be, they're going to play so many roles on special teams that like while there's the the list of like 7 guys shagging kickoffs, they're off doing something else that's going to be important in their special teams role, like Sione Vaki. So like, because I took note of who took kick returns last week, and it was Jahmyr Gibbs, Dominic Lovett, Isaiah Pacheco, Greg Dortch, Jameson Williams, Tom Kennedy, and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
you said kick. Is that kick or punt?
That's
it was kick. Interesting.
Those were
Oh, all
kicks.
right.
Yeah.
All right, because that's nice to see Phipp opening up his or expanding his range of body type. That's good
Yeah.
to see.
But at the same time, like part of me is like, okay, they just needed someone who to catch the ball and not land, not have it hit the ground. Like let's just get like our
Sure.
while everyone else, because you're right. Like there's no reason Sione Vaki won't be in there. Jacob Sailors
Right.
won't be in there. Like they're going to be part of the rotation. I'm not saying those guys are locks for the jobs either, but for them not to be even in the rotation tells me that like they had too many bodies they were rotating through too many other parts. Like maybe they're probably focusing on something else. Like again, Sione Vaki is a 4-core special teamer. So while you're working on kick return, you're also working on kick coverage, and he's part of the kick coverage unit.
Right. And the guys that you feel confident that are going to make the team, you're going to want to diversify their skill set on special teams as well, because you're going to run into a situation like last year where Vaki is the kick returner and then he breaks his thumb and now he can't catch the ball anymore. And so, but now he's so valuable, you want him out there in a different capacity, and now he's a blocker. Well, he doesn't understand how to fill that role if you're not cross-training him now.
Yep.
So that makes a lot of sense.
All right. Let's move on to some Kirby Joseph talk here. Joshua O, one of our Pride of Detroit Direct subscribers, thank you, Joshua, says, with the updates to Kirby's status at OTAs, can we revisit who in the secondary will be on the team to start the 2027 season?
2027. Got it.
Yes.
So let me pull that board up that we looked at last week. You only have 3 safeties that are potentially under contract. 2 of them may not make the roster, and the other one's Kirby. So there's not a lot of depth is where I'm going with this. Yeah. Kirby's got his contract. Branch is expected to get a new contract, right? But they're slow rolling that out.
Sure.
Dan Jackson is not a lock for the team. And Amaris Brown, the UDFA, who's a corner / safety, did some run at safety in OTAs. There's no guarantee he's going to make the team either. Sure. So not great, right? It's not great depth. But you're hoping, Kirby's injury gets better. You're hoping Branch is able to return. You're hoping Dan Jackson makes the team and you're able to get that and you're feeling comfortable.
Sure.
I believe, no. I was going to say, I thought Thomas Harper was a restricted, but he's not. So Lawrence Strickland. I'll double check. I'm going to double check.
I was just kind of surprised he already had 3 accrued seasons.
Maybe he doesn't, but I just didn't italicize him.
Either way.
Yeah.
I think you double check that. I think just underlying your point here that the safety situation long-term does not look great right now. Right.
Correct.
I've said a lot all this offseason, and nothing that Dan said last week has changed my mind on this, that it doesn't seem like Kirby Joseph, considering, I mean, we don't know, and I want to reiterate that, But given that Dan Campbell's like, hey, we're putting this off as late as we can because we want to make sure, if he has to deal with this, that, at the beginning of the season it isn't particularly bad, but we don't know how his knee's going to react when we finally put him out there. That sort of unknowing after almost 12 months of rehab and treatment and all this sort of stuff, if you're still at a point where you don't know where this player's future is at, it's a hard sell for me to keep him on the roster when he's due a whatever $18 million option bonus next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be very hard to justify. And there are a whole bunch of financial implications of all this and money guaranteed for injury and things like that, that some of that stuff is even over, I think, both of our heads and how all that works. And so, Disner and company are going to have to work out a way to make it make sense for everyone involved. But beyond that, it's probably Brian Branch and either a whole bunch of new faces or a bunch of re-signings or a new draft pick. I think, we were talking, I don't know if it was on last week's show or a week before, like secondary is high on next year's needs list in terms of like potential first round picks. And we're not, this is just safety, but like corners on that conversation too, because if we want to transfer the conversation there, like critical years for Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed. DJ Reed has another option bonus next year where if he doesn't play well, the Lions might get out it there. Terrion's probably on the roster in 2027, but depending on how it works out this year, he might not be a slotted starter. Same with Ennis, right?
Yeah, and then you basically, outside of those three, you have Keith Abney,
right,
and another UDFA. Deshaun Rucker would be the UDFA,
right.
And so, yeah, it might be just those four with Reed potentially,
right.
in trouble.
Maybe you bring back McCreary if he has a good year and he's your nickel for a little bit. I mean, he's still relatively young, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's only been in the league like 4 years.
Yeah. So if he plays well, like there's nothing saying you can't give him another contract. Of course, maybe he asks for more and that becomes out of Lions price range.
Sure.
So we'll see. But I think the overall point being the 2027 Detroit Lions secondary could be very, very different from what it looks like now. And I would say the only guys that I would say with a ton of confidence will be on the roster are Brian Branch,
Keith Abney,
and probably Terrion Arnold. Like, those are the three where I'm like 95 times out of 100 they're on the team.
Probably Ennis too.
Probably.
Right, probably. But I mean, Ennis got to stay healthy too.
Yes. And I would assume DJ Reed too, because I have a lot of confidence he's going to turn it around.
Yeah.
But the finances are what they are.
Yeah. I'm with you. It's very easy in my mind to see him have a bounce back year and look good. And, the injury, I think, was a big catalyst in some of the struggles.
All right. Moving on to Gavin's question over on Twitter, says, if you had to pick both a best case and worst case scenario for each draft pick, what would it be? For example, Blake Miller starts every game and is a Pro Bowler, or he struggles significantly and has to be benched.
Oh, God.
I don't think we're going to get to that point with Blake.
Yeah, no, like if we want to be realistic, I think the floor for Blake is he's an average starter as a rookie, and that's okay. Like, I think that's where he's going to be.
And by the way, let's just pull injuries away from the best and worst case scenarios, because why even throw that out there? Yeah, I mean, for me, maybe the worst case scenario for Blake Miller is that he struggles out of the gate, so he's not the starter to start the season. I don't view that as like a very legit possibility, but I guess it's not an impossibility either.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. Like, maybe it's not there right away, and the Lions decide. I would assume he'd eventually find the field, but maybe all the Larry Borum hype they were doing before the draft was legitimate, and they're like, we're actually a little bit more comfortable with Larry. It's a big year for us. We can't start out slow. That would be worst case scenario for me. Again, I feel like even in that scenario, it'd be like, okay, but once we get to the bye week in week 6 or whatever it is, it's time for Blake Miller to get out there. We spent a first round pick on the guy.
I the way that they've operated in the past with their picks and with this offensive lineman, the chances of that happening are like in single digits,
Yes.
right? Like, or in low single digits.
Do you think Pro Bowler is on the table for ceiling in year one?
I would be surprised.
Yeah.
Okay. For him to be a Pro Bowler, Ratledge would have to continue to develop and hold that down as well, and then the team would have to have a
incredibly
best in the NFC type of record again.
Yep.
And
incredible run game, Goff.
Right. Yeah.
15 sacks total.
Right. That's what it would take for a rookie offensive lineman to make the Pro Bowl, to be honest.
It did become a little bit easier this year to become a Pro Bowl right tackle, though.
With Panay leaving? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, but especially with the offensive linemen, when there's no legit stats out there except for PFF grade, your offensive linemen tend to be legacy offensive linemen that make the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'd be shocked.
Yeah. There's still a lot of really good name right tackles in the NFL.
All right, Derek Moore. Let's start worst case.
Worst case with Moore is he never gets even in the rotation with Wanham. Like he doesn't Wanham just is out snapping him every game. Mm-hmm. Moore's in the rotation, but he's not producing.
Maybe more of a late down guy.
Yeah, he gets a sack or two, but it only plays 30% of the snaps. I think that's kind of worst case. Sure. Best case is I think he goes double digit sacks, like we saw from Al-Qadim Muhammad, and he's snapping. The reverse happens. We're seeing him out snap Wanham and keep Wanham on the bench, and Derek Moore ends the season looking like the guy that Lions fans have been clamoring for a decade.
11 seems high. It'd be great. And listen, am I going to sit here and say
best case?
Right, sure. And I'm not going to sit here and say Al-Qadim Muhammad is clearly better than Derek Moore will be. I can't say that for sure. And I wrote this thing for PODD about replacing snaps. The one thing that is kind of surprising looking at the snap counts last year, and it's not that surprising if you think about it for a second, but Al-Qadim Muhammad played 400 snaps. Not a lot. 30 to 40%, because he was such a late down type of guy. And for him to have that sort of production with that small of a snap count, I don't think is necessarily a testament to his skills. Not trying to take anything away from him, but I think it's more of a testament to hey, this team occasionally gotten some really good down in distances. They have Aiden Hutchinson on the other side. They like to blitz a lot. Your edge rusher can benefit from that.
Yeah, that's 100% right.
Right. And with a healthy Aleem McNeil and with DJ Wanham in the rotation, and you can squint and I guess if we are playing,
you're going to get you're going to get a lot of single matchups, and there's going to be times when tight ends get matched up on him.
Yep.
And
he can knock those dudes on their butts.
Right. Like with Muhammad, he had how many games? I felt like he had a couple multi-sack games, didn't he?
I think so.
I'm trying to look at it. Oh boy, they've changed their format a little bit on me over at Pro Football. Or Pro Football Reference changed their format a little bit.
Yeah, their website's a little trickier now. I can get you the game log real quick here.
I thought I could do it fast, and I went down the wrong path.
Yeah,
but I remember Baltimore. He had 3 sacks against Baltimore,
2.5, 3 against Dallas, 2 against Minnesota.
Yeah. Right. So he was putting them in chunks like that. And that's how I think it could happen for Moore again. If you get the right guy in the right situation in a team that's desperate and you let him tee off, anything there can be games when he racks up 3 sacks.
Jimmy Rolder.
Worst case, he never sees the field on defense.
Yep.
And he just plays special teams and isn't impactful. That would be worst case.
I think so. And this is going to sound like I'm hating on Jimmy Rolder, and I don't want to give that impression, even though he wasn't my favorite pick. Like, I think that's pretty close to reality. Obviously, the hope is that he does make an impact on special teams, and I think his skill set actually does translate pretty darn well, especially the way they Lions like to use their linebackers on special teams. I think like the realistic point of view is that unless there's injuries, he probably doesn't play on defense this year, but he's an impact player on special teams. I'm sorry, I may have said that wrong. Yeah. He doesn't play on defense this year, but he's an impact player on special teams.
Best case scenario is a Pro Bowler on special teams.
Sure.
And he finds his way into be linebacker 3. That would be best case.
That would be best case. I think if he can be linebacker 4, I think I would pull back the best case and I'd be like, they find a sub package role for him in a lot of ways that like it felt like they were going to do that with Zach Cunningham before Zach Cunningham got injured. Like maybe some goal line stuff. I think LB3 is optimistic.
It's a big ask, but like
it's a big ask.
If Malcolm's knee isn't right, because like you know what I mean, like he didn't quite look right.
Yep.
And then you don't see it, from Clark, and then the door opens. You know what I mean? And so if he's healthy and the other guys are struggling, and the talent's there that he could take that role.
Yeah. I'm also just not completely counting out. Gosh, now I'm forgetting his name. I can't even remember his name. The LSU
Damone
guy,
Clark?
Damone Clark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think he enters training camp probably as LB4. So like that's a guy that Jimmy Rolder will have to jump.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Before Nowatzki
too.
Probably. Yeah.
Jump
That's a good point. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk Abney real quick.
Whew. All right, worst case, same as Rolder. Doesn't see the field. Yeah, special team only, and you don't see much of an impact. That's worst case.
I'm with you. I think in best case, I don't think he can win the nickel job. Well, no, I'll say that. He wins the nickel job out of training camp. Like week 1 starter.
Yeah, I'm with you too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think
I like
we're
McCreary.
talking like, yeah, I do too.
But I don't know. I like Abney a lot too. The thing that's going to be tough with Abney is that he didn't play a bunch in the nickel at Arizona State, right? And so that's going to be an adjustment. He's playing a different position on top of jumping up in competition.
I'm also going to say, in addition to winning maybe a starting nickel role, he could be outside CB4.
Who's 3 in that scenario?
Rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Do you I mean, we mentioned him a little bit at the top about
it's gonna be tough to pass Rock.
Yeah.
Like I think Rock is so good for this system.
Yeah. It'd be bad news if Ennis if he was able to make that jump. I'm trying to think of like what his ceiling would be on special teams because again, like feels like he could fill in a lot of roles.
He could start on all 4 phases. Yeah.
He could be one of the gunners.
Yeah. Yeah. He would start on every phase.
Yeah. All right. What's his name?
Kendrick Law's on IR. So
so we'll skip over Skylar Gill-Howard.
Best case, Law comes back.
I mean, it is at least a little bit curious that they're
leaving the door open. Yeah, right. But I mean, is that really in his best interest?
I was having this conversation with someone else because Dan did not say he's out for the year, and they haven't put him on IR. But the way they treat injuries, like yeah, and if you were to what's the timeline like 6 to 8 months? If it's 6 months, that's already in December.
Yeah, you come back for the last couple of games, make the playoff push.
You just do the JMO like.
Yeah, what he maybe.
But James also happened in January, not June.
Maybe he plays more playoff games than regular season games. Who knows?
It's just it's a couple things. Like you'd be burning one of your IR to returns on him, which seems a little silly for a 5th round pick. And like why not just redshirt him? Why not just be like, hey man, it's a tough break for you, but like get ready, like stay in the meeting, stay engaged, but Just
because
get ready
he's a
for next year.
rookie, because training camp is so important for rookies,
Yeah.
because it would be
Right.
on the very, very early side of the injury, and
Yeah.
they want him for the future. I don't see a scenario where he comes back.
All right, Skylar Gill Howard.
Worst case, doesn't make the team.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
worst case. Like
And then, like, I
he
almost feel
doesn't
like
fit.
even if that happens, probably comes back on the practice squad.
Oh yeah, yeah. I certainly think he
If he
would.
makes it through, and
I think they'd
I think
try
he
their
would.
best to get
Yeah.
him back if they couldn't. But I mean, that's worst case.
Yep.
The depth doesn't go the way they want. He doesn't show up when they were expecting it,
Yep.
and they move in a different direction. Best case, he works his way into the two deep, and I think he finds his way into the rotation and sees how he can contribute from there. If he gets 3 sacks, that'd be awesome.
It'd be huge. I'm trying to figure out what that role would be, because to me, like, that 3 tech is a crowded position, like low key kind of crowded,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
both Aleem and Tyleek can play that. You also have Levi back this year, who's
Kai. Yep.
Mackay is a 3 tech. Like, I know Levi can and probably will eventually kick out, do more 4-5 and 5 stuff, but like that's where he's repping right now is the 3. And so there's at least some hope that that's part of his role too. And again, like it makes some of these moves in the offseason head scratching, not necessarily good or bad, but like head scratching, because it's like, okay, you got a bunch of guys who can go from 3 to 5, but who are your 1 to 3 guys? Who are your
Yeah, they really
noses?
only have a couple,
Yeah.
right?
Which is why Kiana Aina is one of those guys where, like, I mean, he can make it just by numbers.
Yeah, I still think he'd be backing up, right?
Yeah.
Of course, like he's not, and
Right.
I think those snaps would still be limited just because both Aleem and Tyleek
Tyleek
can both play,
nose.
nose and 3, and so that makes things a lot easier.
Sorry, to get back to Skylar Gale Howard and the point I was going to make, like, even if he makes the team as a 3 tech, I just wonder in the chopping order, like, when they need a 3 tech out there, number 1 is Aleem. Is number 2 Levi, or is number 2
Yes, no, Levi.
Tyleek? Like, Tyleek is also maybe 2.
Well, here's the thing
Yeah.
that I think we have to, when we look at how their roster is built, we have to consider the fact that they're just not going to run a 3 and a 1. We have to think that there are going to be times when they run a 3 and a
2
3.
threes. Yeah.
Yep. And so if that's the case, you're not just aligning them in one straight line. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But if you were talking like just the 3,
Yeah.
it would be Aleem, Tyleek, Levi.
And then
Keeping
maybe
in mind that,
Skylar.
and then he's competing with Wingo at that point, right? Chris Smith and Miles Adams, we don't talk about them, but they're consistent guys who can play the 3, the nose, the 5, the 4.
Sure.
Like they knew a lot. They just aren't. They don't have that first step or that upside that. But they're consistent, and that's why they
stuck
stick around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So like, even in the best case scenario for Skylar, again, throwing injuries out of, like, I'm not going to, like, oh, well, if Aleem gets injured, then whatever. I don't want to think about that. I still think we're talking about, like, 200 snaps most.
Oh, yeah. If he exceeded 250, that would be surprising to me. That's a lot of snaps for a late round rookie.
Yeah. All right, Tyree West, last one. I think both of us say worst case again, not making the team, which
not makes the team, doesn't make the practice squad either. That would be worst case.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't fit. They don't like the role anymore. They just don't like the production he's giving. That would be worst case. Like he's just no longer on the team.
What's your best case?
He finds life at the 4i, and the Lions decide they don't want to move away from it as much, and he becomes Levi 2.0. Like he becomes the guy who's trying to be like Levi. He's working behind Levi. He's shadowing Levi, and he becomes Levi Insurance and a potential guy to replace Levi if Levi's knee isn't right.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Again, they have a lot of these guys that can go from 3 to 5, and it's going to make it tough for him to make the roster, let alone find a role defensively. The one thing we don't talk about enough with some of these defensive linemen, with the new kickoff, the Lions like using those guys in the middle. And like maybe that's his rookie season route to playing time more so than a defensive role, given all of the versatile pieces ahead of him on the depth chart. But again, like you said, an injury can bump them up. If he shows enough in training camp, shows some tenacity, shows, some Levi-like skill set, then yeah, like maybe again, we're talking maybe even less than a 200 snap role on defense, but like some sort of rotational role.
Yeah, he's got to beat Lacey too. Yeah. Like Lacey was a guy that they liked, but they also kind of stepped away from at the end of the season. But I'm sure he's going to return with experience and determination to make the roster again.
All right, we went a little long in that first segment there, but we had to talk about all the rookies. When we come back, we are going to talk again about some of these podcast takes on the Detroit Lions and our reactions to them, and a whole lot more when we come back here on the Midweek Mailbag. We'll be right back. Okay. We're on break, which means to our live audience on YouTube and Twitch, we'll answer some of your guys' questions. We'll thank some of you guys for your subs, your donations, your super chats, whatever you got in the bag for us. Let's start with Mr. Broker, who is now subbed for 50 months, 50 months. Thank you, Mr. Broker. Phenoms Wow, 29 months, as Midweek Mailbag Primetime Edition. That's right. The timings of these are going to be a little bit all over the place because the end of the school year, and next week, I think minicamp is on a Wednesday. So that's going to throw things off.
Also, for the next 2 weeks, my wife, as a principal, still has to go to school for their end of the year principal stuff, and my kids are out of school. Yeah, and so it'll be me versus 3. Yeah, and so that'll be hard to podcast while doing that.
Just have them be panelists.
I tell you,
what do they think about Keith Abney?
They'll have opinions, and they'll be loud. You may not be able to hear them. It'd be like watching one of the ESPN shows. That's what it would be like.
Ooh, shots fired. What's up, Contrapston? Contrapaston? I've always never known how to pronounce your name, but thanks for dropping by. Sky Gaming, thanks for showing up as well. Thank you to Austin Mammoth for the 45-month subscribe to the channel. So I saved this anniversary for the main show. What flavor margaritas should I have for my birthday this week? Ooh. When's the last time you had a margarita? First of all, I need to know this information.
That's a good question. Now, it's probably more recent than you think, only because my wife likes to make strawberry daiquiris and margaritas for around the pool, and the kids love their what's the version of the strawberry daiquiri? It's called strawberries, whatever.
Is it not the version strawberry daiquiri?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay,
but like she makes the strawberry daiquiris like all the time, but every once in a while, she'll go the margarita route when there's more adults than kids, maybe. Yeah. And I've probably had one. It's typically just this kind of standard like lime, you know what I mean? Like the lemon lime, or I don't think it's lemon lime. I think it's just lime flavored. Yeah. It's the yellow, right? Or whatever, right? Sure. I forget what it's called.
Greenish ale, yeah.
She makes them. She's the one that does all the fancy stuff.
Salt in the rim too?
Now, not necessarily at home, but if I were to go out and get one, yes.
Okay. I'm not the biggest margarita fan, and it's only because tequila was my first alcohol drink.
Yeah.
And as a lot of people, you kind of have a negative visceral reaction to the first alcohol you consumed, because in most cases it doesn't stay down the first time you have it. But it's weird because why can't I think of what's the smoky version of tequila? Mezcal. I love mezcal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird. It's a little weird, but I do love a good mezcal. So I don't have a good margarita answer because I don't drink them. But
My wife has a variety. She loves to entertain, right? And she has a variety of different, like summery type drinks, like different
Yeah.
margaritas, daiquiris, sangrias that she does
Ooh, I
like
do
as
love a
well.
sangria.
Like she when she was in high school, she worked at a Mexican restaurant, and she learned how to make the margaritas
Yeah.
from them, or the sangria from them. Oh my God. And every time anyone comes over, they like absolutely love
Yeah.
what she does. It's
Who doesn't
amazing.
love chunky wine?
Well, it, she, we it's strained. Okay. It's not like it comes out in chunks.
No, but there's
You
chunks
know,
of fruit in it a lot.
yeah, but the way that she does it is we have like one of those big like
Yeah.
lemonade. They're like a
Yeah.
big lemonade dispenser type of
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you pour like 10 bottles of wine into it, and then like you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
a fifth of this, a fifth of this, a fifth of this, and it just becomes like a big thing.
Uh-huh.
And you throw the fruit, but then when you release
Yeah.
the dispenser, you filter all that out,
Of
like
course.
so.
Ooh, Tecate. A Tecate fan. I used to drink Tecates when I was in LA because you can just get Tecate at any grocery store in Los Angeles, but I don't know I haven't seen a Tecate probably since I lived out there. Gosh, almost 10 years ago now.
I only keep the base. I have a variety of different like things because my extended family and stuff, when they come over, we like to keep the stuff that they like. So I have a variety of different stuff, but I think just this standard like Jose Cuervo tequila is like all I think I might have a tequila from Mexico though. Like that's like back when I got married like 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, your
Like
drink of choice, in case anyone doesn't know, is beer, and you have a very stocked beer fridge at all times.
yeah, I like my hazy IPAs, my little yeah,
A lot of
light and
founders.
refreshing.
Is that right? I feel like I always see a bunch of founders in your fridge.
I like to buy local.
Yeah.
So Founders, Bell's, Shorts, Jolly Pumpkin is in there. I have those three, plus I have a Jolly Pumpkin. There's also, why am I blanking on it? There's the brewery right by my house. I do. I'm blanking on it. Anyway, but yeah, I try and stick. Well, and then
Just
there's like Rochester
throw-
Hills Brewery too, which is
Throw out your
real
address,
close
and
by.
people will tell
People
you
know
where
I
it
live in
is.
Rochester. I live in
Well,
Rochester.
they do now.
They
do now.
do. No, most people do. But there's a lot of different. There's a lot of really good companies in Michigan that make
Yeah.
a variety of like beers, and they go crazy with a lot of different stuff. But the hazy stuff that's normally what I stick to, and it's I mean it's just there's so many little like local like liquor stores around here and beer stores around here that just they feature so many different things. It's fun. Like you never run out of options. It seems like in Michigan because it's a very creative market.
I yesterday went and did trivia at this beer place. What do you call it? Brewery, that's the word. And I'm like, anytime I see a German beer on the menu now, I'm like, well, I gotta try that. I'm going to Germany. I gotta start.
Oh gosh,
Start.
this is gonna be a little heavier than what you normally drink. It's Griffin Claw is what I was thinking. That's what's by me. Griffin Claw.
Gotcha.
You've brought me the blue one, the blue can from Griffin Claw, which is a wheat beer. It's called Blue Sky or something like that. You
Yeah, I
brought that
remember
over
that.
to my house before. Yeah, it's a wheat based from Griffin Claw.
I used to have this. I used to live near
you-
a really
You
nice.
brought it.
Yeah, I probably just grabbed one that I like the label of.
Well, it's a cool label.
Yeah. There was this really nice party store by where I used to live in Plymouth. Kind of miss that place. It had a whole walk-in section to go to the refrigerated places, not just grabbing it from a drawer. Anyways.
Yeah, Mr. Blue Sky. That's what they call it.
Oh, okay. Love yellow.
It's a little American wheat.
Steel Line, thank you for the 41 months subscribed on Twitch. Ice Cecil, 55 months. Says 55 months. Derek Barnes or Stephen Tulloch anniversary. Host choice. Either one. It was cool to see Tulloch over at Dairy Slay's retirement party over the weekend in Georgia. I didn't know if he'd get the invitation. I feel like I haven't heard much from Tulloch. Like, he's the one that came in and like wanted to have a retirement press conference, right? And we're like, oh, okay, sure. Or am I thinking of someone else?
No, I think you're thinking of the right
guy. And then he also has like a coffee shop, a coffee line, and a coffee shop.
That's cool.
In Florida, which is cool. I think they were buying it or selling it in Meyer for a while. I don't know if it's still there.
I thought he was from Virginia. Why did I think
well,
that?
He definitely lives in Florida now.
Well, yeah, I don't doubt that.
The Flying Buffaloes are great too. You like that beer?
I don't know if I've had that one, to be honest.
Add to the list. Get the potato pancakes. What?
Oh no, he's from Florida.
I love potato pancakes.
He played at North Carolina. That's
Oh, that's Virginia.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that area, and I got the wrong state. I thought he played at Virginia, so I thought that's what it was.
What's up, London Cheesehead? Thanks for stopping by. I will accept your message of I hope either the Lions or the Packers win the NFC North this season. F the Bears. I think we can agree on that. Although if you were a Bears fan in here and would have said I hope the Lions or the Bears win the NFC North, F the Packers, I also would have said I support that as well. McVay Rob, thank you for 38 months subscribed on Twitch, says my Nick Whiteside anniversary. Will Buc-ee's take over the midweek mailbag too? We talked a lot about Buc-ee's.
I don't have any Buc-ee's.
I was going to say, there's no chance you've ever been to a Buc-ee's.
No, it's out of state, like, right?
Yeah,
like it's
correct.
it's
Ohio's
not.
The closest one.
It's
so
not.
You don't have this.
I don't go to Ohio. Sorry, old people.
I've never been to a Buc-ee's before either, but yeah.
I thought
our chat sends us weird things.
I thought they were down south. That's what I was thinking.
They're all over the place. Texas, I think there's a billion of them in Texas.
That's what I remember. And
yeah.
I've only driven through the top part of Texas on my way to LA. So I've never really like stayed.
And when was that? 40 years ago?
No, 26 years ago.
Did Buc-ee's even how old? See that? I don't want to talk about Buc-ee's anymore, but now I'm curious. When they were founded in 1982.
Yeah. If you're that big and you're that, like, across the nation, you've probably been around a while.
Zern, I absolutely did see that. Miko and Ryan and I have a Slack channel, and Buc-ee's has come up 3 times in the past 48 hours on social media. I saw a story that Buc-ee's got an F on the Better Business Bureau because they just don't answer any complaints. It was great. Anyways, we're not going to talk about Buc-ee's anymore, but that was a fun conversation. Katie from Michigan, thank you for the 59 months. Says almost as many months as I am years old. LOL. Haven't been around much, but hope to join the live streams more again. Hey, glad you got to swing by this time. I don't know if you're still around, but I know that was from 15 minutes ago, so hope you're around. Yes, Joe Williart, we are going to talk about that. So he actually had the Lions 9th, not 7th. But
all right, I'm not going to spoil.
we'll talk about it in the show, but because just for the live audience, in case you want to know what we're talking about, on the Athletic Football Podcast, which is hosted by Robert Mays and what's his name? What's his first name? Klassen is his last name? Derek Klassen.
Yeah.
They were ranking the NFC, so not even NFL, NFC supporting casts on offense. So basically everything but your quarterback. Your offensive line, your skill position players, and your coordinator is also. They get to the Detroit Lions, and Robert Mays goes, I got them ranked 9th. And Derek's like, what? I've got them 3rd. And yeah, we'll talk about it more once.
I'm surprised because Klassen is a guy who fancies himself a QB expert.
Sure.
And he's always not liked Goff, really.
Well, but this is not about Goff. It's
no, but you said it's part of the. Oh, everything but the quarterback.
Everything but
that
quarterback.
That makes sense why he has them 3rd then, because he's not a Goff fan from what I can recall.
For some reason I always thought he was more of a Vikings guy, but I actually don't know if that's true
I don't
or
know.
not.
What's Mays? Does Mays have a team?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't want to. I hate talking bad.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mays is a Bears fan. I forgot about that.
All right then. Never mind.
Is Klassen a Vikings guy, or did I make that up? I always, for some reason, thought he was a Vikings guy. But again, I have no recollection of why I feel that way.
Here's the thing. I don't want to crap on the guy on the podcast stream, but the thing is, if almost every national analyst who's a Bears fan is also completely wackadoo.
Don't put Robert Mays in the same category as Adam Rank. Don't do that.
What do you mean? Is he a Bears fan too? most Bears fans most Bears analysts that have the Bears as their team, they're they have a lot of the same syndromes that their fans do, where they think the team is still the '84 Bears, and they still think, and they're like, oh, they've turned it around, and they're gonna be there again.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna bring that up, Phenoms Wow, because I this was my lead for notes today, and we already published an article on it, and I did include the follow up from Mays. This is actually how I saw it in the first place. I saw Mays tweeting about it today. He says, quote, I've thought about this a lot since yesterday, and I'm much closer to where Derek is now. Bucketing Detroit with other year one play callers tracked for me initially, but it undersells what we saw from Petzing, the offensive line's path to improvement, and the skill player quality. Then he follows that up by saying, I'd still have the Rams, the Bears, and the 49ers as my top 3, but I'd have the Lions in the mix right after that if I had to do it over.
There's going to be so many people that are going to be very confused on why the Bears are bad this year.
I am not with you on this take, but I hope you're right.
Oh, you'll be one of the confused ones then. That'll be fine.
I'm not going to be confused because I know what would be their downfall this year. It's kind of the exact. Well, it's not the exact same thing.
Turnovers, strength of schedule, second year slump.
Well, I'm talking more about offense.
Inaccuracy from their quarterback.
Yes.
All kinds of fun stuff.
On offense, it's offensive line questions, which they are entering with several, and it's quarterback.
Keep going. Yeah. Offensive line, center, right? Center specifically, right? You're changing your skill set up on the outside. Do you really count on DeAndre Swift being healthy again? Is that something that could just miraculously happen? We think it can.
Healthy for 3 years now.
Yes. No, maybe last year. But unless last year he was healthy. He wasn't always healthy with the Eagles.
17 games, 16 games.
With the Eagles? with the Eagles?
16
Why did he suck
start,
so?
15
Why did he
starts.
suck so bad then? Oh, it's just terrible. Huh?
He had he ran for 4.6 a carry and 1,000 yards.
No, that wasn't that good if I remember. Behind that offensive line, you should be running twice that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why now got Saquon because he's not as good as a running back, but health wasn't the issue.
Here's the thing. I seem to remember Swift being active a lot, but not healthy. But whatever. All right, I digress.
He's had over 220 carries each of the last 3 years.
Yeah, well, set up for a fall. And the accuracy of Caleb is the thing that's going to be their biggest downfall. He's just not. If he all of a sudden becomes accurate, then I'll be walking it back. But I'm not counting on that.
Okay, that's fine. I'm with you on the defensive regression like that. Last year's defense was.
And that defensive regression is going to impact the offense too, right?
For sure.
Defense is going to be on the field more, less chances for the offense.
And all of the underlying stats last year in the Chicago's defense were bad. Like bad DVOA, bad EPA, bad success rate. It's just they had the greatest. They took all of the injury luck, all of the turnover luck that each team is afforded at the beginning of the year, took all of it from the New York Jets, 100% of it from the New York Jets.
Yeah.
And wore it as their own. So no interceptions from the Jets, all of the interceptions for the Bears.
I just don't buy that Caleb is going to continue to be able to do the wild plays that he was able to pull off last year. Those are inconsistent from year to year for almost all quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And what was that? 4th and goal from the 3 or something. You drop back 45 yards and you throw a YOLO ball and they catch it for that's never going to happen again. You know why I can confidently say that? Because it never happened in the 100 years of the NFL before that. It's just it's to even put himself in that spot to regress 45 years. That's the stuff that's going to get him in trouble. Because that's dancing with the fire there. You know what I mean? And it's not just his inaccuracy that I think is a problem. It's that he's willing to dance with the fire and think that he can outlive. This is the same thing that Matthew Stafford had a problem with when he was younger.
Yeah.
He thought, I have the arm to make every throw, and I will try and sustain these, and I will regress, and I will lose yards, and I'll throw YOLO balls. When you're a young
he needs a guru, a quarterback guru that Stafford would not do early in his career. Remember that?
Yeah. The trick is young quarterbacks who play that style hit hurdles, right?
Sure.
And he didn't have many hurdles last year, but that luck is going to run out. The odds say.
So Eric believes in the Madden curse. Got it.
Oh, 100%. I didn't even get to that part. I was still going. That was going to be my cherry on top. That's play where he's all spread. Come on. That's one of the one of the plays I'm talking about. That's one of the things that isn't going to be there. He's not Patrick Mahomes, folks, no matter how much Chicago wants him to be. He's not.
This is only tangentially related, but I'm going to have a little bit of a hot take.
Listen, hold on. I'm going to keep saying YOLO. I don't care if it went out of style.
That's as hip as Eric gets.
This look at what I'm wearing a plain black t-shirt right now. I am not hip. I'm going to pull out other words like psych and throw other words that were used in the 90s.
Rad.
Yeah.
Radical.
Yeah. I'm going to say words that were so far gone.
Hey, Trevor, eat my shorts.
Yeah. I don't get any trendier.
All right, here's my hot take. Bears are high on this list. But of all the teams I am desperately hoping fails next year, the Bears are not on top of my list. The Packers are not on top of my list.
Rams.
The Los Angeles Rams are at the top of my list.
Yeah, they've certainly set themselves up to be hated.
Is that sacrilegious for me, a Detroit Lions fan, to not want to not have an NFC North team as my most team I want to fail?
I don't think anymore, because there's a lot of people out there now that don't like how the Stafford stuff have played out when he came back, and like some of the things that he said, even though he was not trying to be like, I don't think he was trying to be like,
no, I don't.
I'm just saying, no, yeah. I'm saying there's a lot of the fan base that's soured on him. There's a lot of fans that realized who Kelly is now that she has a podcast and gets into trouble in other parts of the country.
Uh-huh.
And so that has woken people up to some frustration. And I think combining him with McVay has not helped his case either.
Sure.
Because people are still very mad at McVay.
Oh, but he apologized. Did you hear him this offseason?
He did. He's apologized more than once, actually. And like, I thought it was heartfelt. I thought he was hard on himself, but that's what I think about as heartfelt as McVay gets, or McVay gets, right? So
Todd McVay.
Yeah. Todd. But I just think there's like, they back Jared Goff. Jared Goff is here. They back him so hard that McVay's the enemy.
Right.
And Stafford has aligned himself with the enemy, and therefore Stafford can go and there's people that are just done with him.
Right.
Like, and you hear a lot of comments about that, like, are getting awfully mean.
Sure.
And I mean, maybe that's just social media,
but my reasoning has nothing to do with Stafford, nothing to do with Jared Goff, nothing to do with Sean McVay. It's like I am just so tired of the all-in stuff. I am so tired of the F them picks thing. I am so tired of everyone using them as an example of, you have to do it this way or you're not going to win a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
it's driving me crazy. Like, I understand it's a strategy. I understand it's a strategy that works, but I want to see this strategy in particular fall on its face so much so that people also realize that there is risk involved, that it doesn't work every time, that it isn't a thing where like you win a Super Bowl and then you can be right back there in a couple of years later. Like, I want it all to burn to the ground. I want everyone to see that, yes, you can take this risk, and yes, it might work, but it also might set your franchise back. It also, one, might not work, and then also set your franchise back several years.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
I just want to see it burn to the ground.
Boy, would it be fun if like all three teams in the NFC North and the Rams, just none of them made the playoffs? Wouldn't that be great?
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, it'd be like, I'd even allow the Giants to make the playoffs then.
Joe Shane, GM of the year.
But like you could see Seattle and San Fran keeping the Rams in third.
Sure. It's a tough division.
Yeah, right. Arizona ain't going to do anything, but you're one token NFC South team.
Right.
Really need the East to step up in order to make this scenario work.
So like chat's throwing like, oh, all of these teams went all in and it didn't work. You're all right, but this would be like the most salient example, right? Because everyone's
gave up on a young, promising defensive end for what should be the best defensive player we've seen in a while.
Yep.
And then great.
And they made several trades this offseason. They get Trent McDuffie. They add another corner that they need. Everyone anoints them Super Bowl favorites now. Everyone's F them picks. Like, the Rams have a style of roster building now named after them. They have a motto. And if the F
Yeah.
them picks thing finally fails in a way that backfires significantly, people are going to remember. I don't know if people are going to remember the time Dallas went all in. I'm not sure if people are going to remember even the Micah Parsons trade. I don't know if people are going to be like, oh, they went all in and it didn't work. Like, no. This is different. This is different.
It didn't work. It didn't work.
Well, it's not. It's not over yet.
Kind
of. People are talking about is it Alaric Jackson? I know.
Alaric.
He got arrested or something. I don't know anything about the story.
Yeah, domestic violence. Again, that's the most common arrest of the offseason amongst NFL players.
Yeah. I don't know what the story is. I don't know how serious it is. I don't know any details, so I can't speak on whether he's going to play or not this year, but
yeah.
We'll see.
Look, he probably will. Like, they seem to be awfully forgiving in those situations.
Yep. All right. DC Smithers, thank you for the £5 super chat. Says, are the Lions too stressed? But from Brad Holmes not going to Arizona to the schedule release video to DC's presser, there seems to be a lack of chill in Allen Park.
Oh yeah, no, they seem very annoyed. Tightly wound. It's one of my concerns. Like that, honestly, like they seem very tightly wound. Like they are it's the way that they're acting. It's almost like they're in season. Like now, you know what I mean? Like they're ranked up to here. You know what I mean?
You're concerned about this. Why are you concerned about it?
Just because I don't want them to like burn out. You know what I mean? Like you can't operate at a season level the entire year. You just can't. Like you have to,
that's fair.
With that level of intensity, you can't be up there. And I get that they're in it now, and I'm sure they'll dial it down over the summer, and that's okay. I mean, like the strategy could certainly work. It makes sense to dial it up at different times, but
you know what we need? We need like old school Dan Campbell to come back, like racing helmet Dan Campbell to come back. I want him tomorrow.
I'd rather
just one.
I worked at a chicken shack, Dan Campbell. That guy.
Better
than racing helmet.
In honor of the World Cup, just come to his press conference, make the vuvuzela noise,
God.
and then be like, okay, questions. Like that's all I need. Is like, okay, fun Dan Campbell is still somewhere in there.
No, because there's gonna be so many people that don't like that.
I don't care.
Like I'd rather Colton's alarm go off again and him snap at Colton and then backtrack and like make a joke about it and you know that type of like behavior. I don't need the
Give me the vuvuzela Dan Campbell.
Oh God, I don't need the props. I don't need a prop comic up there right now.
Carrot Top.
I get the I don't want him coming out with a mallet and a watermelon.
Shoot, I knew I should have brought my poncho.
But
we're making Carrot Top and Gallagher references. We're not fighting all the non-hip narratives about ourselves right now.
Well, I can't fight that. But I do have a little bit of concern that he is dialed to 9 right now, right? Like he is just all up, no nonsense. Like, oh, the Rams got Myles Garrett. Oh, so they won it, right? Like he was not happy that he had to answer that question.
I love that
know what
line.
I mean? He was like, oh, great. I mean, people are gonna want to bring that line up because they're whatever, but that's fine. But
I've already seen some like, oh, hold on, bookmark this one for this is gonna look terrible. This is gonna age terribly. Like, who cares?
Right.
it's a press conference in June.
I know. Like, people
are we really gonna pull those receipts and be like, wow, Dan Campbell was such an idiot? Like, he's not saying they have. Like, he's
dude,
not a good player.
I saw a Rams fan / writer pull up a receipt.
I saw that too.
From the playoffs, like from playoffs 2 years ago, that they felt disrespected from a post game interaction where Dan was being
On
nice
field.
to another coach.
Yes.
Come on. If that's what's getting your underwear in a bunch, then you know what? You're too tightly wound. You're dialed up worse than anything I'm worried about here. Like, come on. So
First Bite fans will know which Rams Raider you're talking about.
yeah, it's dumb. I'm trying to ignore him.
Oh, sorry.
He is. I mean, he's dumb. But what? I mean, it's fine.
Sure. why
Look,
not?
I can't. You can't fix like legitimately just not smart. Like the stuff that you're cherry picking, and it's not like he's gonna watch. And if he does, great. Who cares? You can come watch, clip it, bookmark it, bring it up later. I don't care. But
I'm just gonna let you go off.
I'm so yes. The the Rod Wood of Rams Raiders. That's a great one. Good job, Boulder.
Where were we? Did you have another point to make?
Together. No, I don't know. I'm irritated. I was going somewhere and I went way off path.
I was gonna
don't remember
say
where it was.
something about fun Dan Campbell versus wound up Dan Campbell.
Oh yeah. It's just I don't want him to be too ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like right now, like the whole I started getting a little worried at the schedule release when he was just like pin it to the wall, and I was like, all right, that looks a little like I'm a little worried about him if this is all they're willing to do. And then it grew on me, you know, because I was able to watch it like probably 10 times because it was only like 15 seconds long. But but I get the message. I just hope I'd like to see them come out at OTAs and start throwing golf balls in a trash can that's on a golf cart. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Remember that? Like,
Yeah.
those types of light practices. That's what I would like to
Honestly, when he said, like, I want to get back to what we were doing and back in the day, I kind of thought it was going to be that a little bit. Like, I kind of thought it was going to be like, let's remember to have fun. Let's remember to, like, keep things light while we're working hard, because, like, how often do we get to see those competitive drills that they used to do that were fun? Like, it's, you know, a lot of it is competitive and it's one-on-ones. It's football things, but a lot of times it wasn't football things. It was like a relay race, or it was wide receivers throwing at a moving target. Dan Skipper catching punts.
Yeah, Panay caught one too.
Yeah, I miss that. I miss fun Detroit Lions.
Didn't Tom Kennedy have better accuracy than
He was good.
Wasn't David? It wasn't Blau. It was the other guy. Who was the other guy?
The Packers guy?
Yeah. What was his name? Why am I blanking on his name?
I'm also blanking on his name.
David Blau in the Packers guy, and then
Tim
what is
Boyle.
His name? Boyle.
Tim Boyle.
Do you remember when Tim Boyle, the Packers writers, were talking about Tim Boyle being the heir apparent? This is my point. This is my whole point about some of this. Is like, golly, they thought they watched him practice and thought, this is the next Hall of Fame quarterback in Green Bay. He's going to be so awesome.
You know what it is, though?
We left to Detroit. We watched him one practice. We were like, this guy's garbage.
It's arm strength. People fall in love with arm strength when they look at a quarterback. And he had arm strength. But that's it.
Dude, he had less accuracy than Caleb. That tells me.
You're on one today, Eric, and I like it. Tiny Bob, thank you for the 10 months. Says, just lurking tonight, but keep up the great work as always, gentlemen. Hey, thanks for swinging by, Tiny Bob. Hopefully you're still listening, watching. I saw someone say that the Tigers are on rain delay. So we're a nice little intermission. Although I will say, like, I do like their Twitter questions or whatever that they do during rain delays. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's great content. Mostly because Benetti and is it Dirks?
Benetti, yeah, usually
Benetti's
it's
great.
Dirks. Benetti is the Dan Miller of
Yeah.
baseball. Like, he's amazing.
What amazes me about both him and Dan Miller is just the amount of work that they do. Because like it's one thing to just do your like the job that everyone knows you for well. For Dan Miller to be a great play-by-play radio Detroit Lions player, that's in and of itself a great accomplishment. Same thing with Benetti. But like Dan is also on TV every night. Dan is also doing roundtables and interviewing Kelvin Shepard on a random Thursday and up late at night on, the 11 o'clock news. And Benetti does now Sunday Night Baseball, and he does the Lions preseason games. And like, I always say this about even some radio guys, like the amount of energy and research that you have to do to cover all four sports in Detroit is something I will like. I can't even comprehend it. I feel like I work myself to the bone sometimes in this personal job, making sure. And yeah, do I go more in depth on the lines than some other people do? Sure, but like,
well, but that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, I used to try and cover all four as well. Like,
Yeah.
and you can't cover them at the level that we want to cover the Lions.
Yeah.
And still cover other teams. Like, it's not possible.
But I will say this, and I'm going to give someone some love that I do sometimes, but maybe even not enough, because I don't feel like he gets enough credit amongst Detroit media people.
Can I guess?
Sure.
Will.
Yeah, it's Will. It's Will Birchfield from 97.1. He does an incredible job. Like, he puts in the work. He's also very good with the players and asking good questions and good stories. And he writes good articles on all Detroit sports. And he's passionate and he's personable. He's very impressive. And I don't know if enough people in the sports town know of him.
I want to circle back. I don't want to discount Will here because I agree with you. It's very hard to cover all the sports at a good level, and I think him and Dan do a great job. But the thing that I think separates Dan and like Benetti for me is their ability to articulate the moment and capture the emotion of it is just, it's unreal. Like, to be, it's someone like, I don't think it's even like they have some of it like kind of sketched out, like what they might want to talk about or what they might say in certain situations. But like most of that is just like their instincts, and they're sharp, man. Those two are at top of their game. It's amazing.
No doubt. I don't know how we got on that topic, but anyways,
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. I think what since we trashed one Rams writer, I felt the need to balance the universe and shout out some good people.
Look,
I know how we got there, but rain delay, Benetti questions.
Yeah,
that's how we got there. Anyways,
look, there's a lot of Detroit people, writers that are just as bad as that Rams writer. So,
stop it.
I'm not naming names, but like
you're dipping
they're
your
out
toe.
there. No, but they're out there. But and look, the Packers have them too. Look at the we were just talking about with Boyle and the next great hype. But I do think that the collective Detroit media for the Lions, the people that are the most recognizable, I think it's a group of people that give a very well balanced assessment of the team.
Fair. Someone said they like Will Birchfield from behind me at the combine, and I didn't know what that meant, and then it finally clicked on me. I was recording a PODD from the combine, and he ended up walking by me and noticed I was recording, and then like just photobombed me for a second. But anyways, I didn't trash the Rams writer. That's all this guy.
Oh, I
Let
was.
him.
It was me. The Packers, it wasn't just one Packers writer. It was multiple Packers writers that all thought he was like the second coming. And it was shocking because when he got in Detroit, we all looked at each other and went,
This guy?
"What? What?" And then like we're like, "Okay, maybe he needs a week. Maybe he needs a week."
We did the
And
Arrested Development
like,
her meme. Was it
like,
just him?
yeah.
Him?
It was bad. Like immediately, we like I can remember looking at Justin Rogers in 20 minutes going, "What's going on here?" I thought this guy was good. Was supposed to be like great. He was not good. Oh my god.
All right. How long have we been on break? Probably long enough. I
Yeah.
feel like we didn't answer any questions from our live audience, but I'll say this. We'll jump back into the show now, and if you guys do have any burning questions, save them until after we're done with this second segment, and then we'll get to some after that. Fair?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. That's what I chose, so. Okay. Let me get back to our mange. I did answer the margarita question. Or I didn't really. But we did talk about it.
What do we give him? The lime. That lime is what we were suggesting he drink. That's what I mean. That's what I'm. I don't know how to spruce up a margarita, man. I wish I did.
Get something with mezcal instead. Get a regular margarita or get sangria. That was our answer, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that should be good enough. All right, give me a second. Welcome back to the Midweek Mailbag, answering your questions here, live on Twitch, live on YouTube, and of course always on any podcasting platform you want to listen to us on. Let's jump back into the questions. This one comes from @IndySmith. On Twitter says, Dan Pizzuta of the Mina Kimes Show said, picked Isaac Teslaw as an X factor for the Lions this season for an odd reason. He expects Petzing to use more 11 personnel, and Gibbs is very effective running out of that formation. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't disagree. 11 personnel can get a lot of the same concepts done as like 12 and 13 can because you have really good blocking wide receivers. All three of your starters can block. Teslaw in particular is really good when you shift him in and let him crack block like you would typically do with a tight end.
Right.
The Lions do it with a variety of players. They did it with Cleve Raymond last year. Like they're not scared. If you can block, they're going to ask you to do it, right? And so Petzing is known for, that introducing that 13 personnel in order, but when he talked to us, he's talked about the fact that it was there to create mismatches, right? And so if you start running the ball effectively and they decide that they're going to start getting a little heavier in the box or they're going to start coming down, and you're an 11 and you can start executing some of those blocks from the receivers, you can then create mismatches in the passing game by staying in the same personnel. And that's potentially what could be a difference maker if Teslaw is going to be the X factor, right?
Yeah.
And so I could certainly see that path for them. I could certainly see them utilizing 12 and 13 still quite a bit because they have the bodies to do so. They have capable players. But there was a reason they took Teslaw. There was a reason that they've invested in him. He's going to start and they're going to lean on him. And so I do agree that Teslaw could bring an element to the game that can open things up in a variety of different ways, right? Like the little Josh Reynolds 15-yard ins that they really haven't had. They haven't had that guy in the roster since Josh Reynolds. That opens things up. The blocks, the block downs, like that can open things up. So Teslaw may not be the guy who ends up catching more than like 2 passes a game, kind of like Reynolds did, but the potential is there for him to be a silent difference maker.
It is interesting to just kind of think about where the team is at with Isaac Teslaw, because obviously they drafted him before Petzing was here. And so he wasn't drafted with the offensive coordinator's plan for him. Like,
Right.
Petzing has
Right.
to now come up with a plan for him. But he's also adopting everyone else on the roster in the same way that he is to Slaw. That being said, it will be interesting to see where they go when it comes to personnel 11, 12, 13. Because on a very simple scale, like, let's say the lines are running a play. Which matchup would you have more confidence in? Brock Wright blocking a linebacker, or Amon-Ra St. Brown blocking a corner?
Yeah, the latter, right?
Right. Yeah, you probably feel a little bit better about your wide receivers on DBs than some of your tight ends on linebackers or edge rushers or whatever. So in that sense, like, I do kind of want to lean maybe more into 11 personnel, but at the same time, you did invest in Tyler Conklin to improve that room. This team does like Brock Wright. And honestly, like, a healthy Sam Laporta is a very good blocker. We were talking about this on the PODcast. Like, his return this year should not be understated in the run game.
Right.
And so they're not going to shy away from 12 personnel here and there, but I do wonder if maybe they also like those matchups of, hey, we've got 3 wide receivers that are willing and able blockers.
Yep.
Let's make the defense spread things out and trust our guys on the perimeter to get to the second level and build out those holes both on the interior and kicking outside.
Yep. I'm with you. I think, again, Tesla's skill set, that's a potential mismatch. JMO's speed, that's a potential mismatch. Amon-Ra's precise route running, that's a potential mismatch. I expect Petzing to lean into those things that those guys do well.
Yeah. And of course, like, the added benefit of 11 personnel is all those guys are great receiving options for some play action, right?
Yeah.
Not saying Conklin and Wright can't be receiving options. They can, but they're not the weapons that the other guys are. So, I don't know. There's a reason why 11 personnel has been kind of the king of the league for, almost 2 decades now. Even if 13 personnel is the kitschy, sexy thing right now. 11 personnel is not going out of style anytime soon.
Nope.
David P. with the next question, one of our Pride of Detroit Direct subscribers, says, could we be underestimating the jump forward several players will make this year now that they have been healthy? Now that they will have a healthy offseason and training camp, like Aleem, Malcolm, and even being further of one more year away from injury like Hutchinson and Barnes, that could elevate this team's defense to a higher level?
Yeah, certainly. Especially with the guys who are closer, right? Like David mentioned with Aleem and Malcolm, they should be able to get that head start with training camp that they didn't have. They came in, they kind of struggled Aleem hit early and then struggled.
That
after.
first game was still crazy,
wild, and but Malcolm never really fully got up to speed, in my opinion.
Yep.
And
he also had the setback too, right?
Yes. Well, that's what extended him into the year, right?
Yep.
With Hutch, I do think another year away certainly helps him as well. With Barnes, I mean, we can hope. It's hard to tell with Barnes. I kind of feel like Barnes is what he is. And maybe that's just me being, preparing for being underwhelmed. I'm preparing myself to be underwhelmed. Maybe I'm hoping he's the biggest question mark I have amongst the starters, right?
Yep.
But Levi, right? You're hoping to get a camp out of Levi, and hopefully that will help him come around as well. You're hoping guys like Hassanin, who saw most of camp but then missed half the season's worth of stuff, you can get him in that, and that should be able to help him acclimate as well. Dan Jackson in the same boat as
Sure.
Hassanin, right?
Yep.
Got part of camp and then out. Ennis, part of camp and then out. And so I mean, quietly, there's quite a bit of guys
Yeah.
that could really benefit from having a full training camp. Mahogany, I mean, like he's had a
Sure.
couple of injuries, right? And he's only had one. Um, Miles Frazier, right?
Yep.
He didn't have a training camp last year, so you're hoping Frazier that helps him elevate his game. It's just I feel like there's more guys too that I just haven't mentioned.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly is they could stand to have a much better team overall just based on training camp availability.
I mean, I feel like we've talked a lot about Aleem and kind of how his
Mm-hmm.
season feels like it's so critical to the Lions' success this year.
Yeah.
If he is back to the top 10 defensive tackle that he was when he got his major contract, like that can do so much for this defense. It can do so much for the run game. It can do so much for pressure, which helps out your back end. And while being further away from that injury certainly increases the likelihood of all of that happen, it doesn't guarantee it. And I think like the only reason there's people being cautious and maybe underestimating that jump is that it's a significant injury. And while modern medicine is great and ever improving, like especially with the big guys, there is part of you that may not be the same ever again. It's the nature of ACL tears. It's the nature of Achilles tear. I mean, you break a bone, people tell you that never feels the same again. You can get it to feel close, but there's something about it that just never feels the same again. The scar is still there on your skin, you know. So I think like there should be a healthy amount of skepticism's not the right word, but like
Caution.
Caution is a great word for it. Same with Malcolm. A little bit less concerned with Malcolm again because he's not like a 300-pound player, but
Mm-hmm.
but I think we've said this for years though that like that year after is really when you'll know if the guy can return to form or not. Don't judge someone when they come back right away. So like Brian Branch is going to be a tough one this year where I wouldn't expect him to be 100% Brian Branch. But next year's Brian Branch could very much look like the Brian Branch we know, but it's just not guaranteed. And so this is going to be a very telling year for Aleem. This is going to be a very telling year for Malcolm. I'm optimistic with both players that it's going to go in the right direction, but there is a chance that it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. I mean, look, you could say that about a few players, to be honest.
Sure.
Kirby, Levi, list goes.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of, the NFL. That's the wear and tear that these big guys put on their body, and injuries are unfortunately part of the game. And how fast they recover can sometimes feel like luck, but it can also be the difference between a Super Bowl contender and not making the playoffs.
Yep. Luck matters.
Yep.
Darren B., another one of our Pride of Detroit Dark subscribers, with the next question says, Jared Goff will be turning 32 in October, and I believe he is signed through the 2028 season. I knock on wood as I say this, but given Jared Goff's relative minimal injury history and his style of play, is it reasonable to expect that he will defy the average and perform at a high level until his late 30s or even at 40? And should the Lions make this assumption as they construct their roster over the next several years, both at the draft and in managing their cap?
I believe it's becoming more of the norm that these quarterbacks can play into their late 30s. We're seeing it more and more. Brady, Breeze, Manning, like those are the elite
Flacco.
guys, right? But then you can look at guys like Flacco, exactly, who's 42. Phillip Rivers, like came out of retirement, right?
Did okay.
And at 67 or whatever he was, right? And played a handful of games. And so, I feel like it is becoming more common. The trick with Goff, and we talked about this more at length in the PODD mailbag this past week,
Yeah.
or earlier this month, but this is a critical year for Jared Goff. Um, with his contract being what it is, with the projected quarterback draft class being what it is, and with projecting Goff's future, whether or not he has success this year could be a determining factor and will likely be a determining factor in does he get that contract that extends him into his late 30s, or is he going to be a guy that they kind of run out and start to prepare for the future? And they're at a juncture in his contract where they need to kind of pick a path after this season. They've they've restructured his contract this year, but they didn't max it out. Um, they have room in that contract to kind of let it play out and go on to a younger option if they elect to. They can make that decision after this year, and that does line up with the draft class. Or a bird in the hand type of situation. You see how good he is and you project that he can continue to be good. And then you structure his contract in a way that you ensure that he plays for you for the next, 5 to 7 years. That this offseason is going to be, or this season for Jared Goff is going to be critical. And then this offseason, I believe, is the path that we'll find out which path they want to go down with Jared Goff.
I'm looking at last year's quarterbacks and players who started at least 3 games. There are 7 of them who are 36 or older, which speaks to your longevity thing. But at the same time, I'm about to read them off to you. And a lot of these guys are decent players who have fallen off pretty significantly.
Okay.
Tyrod Taylor, Russell Wilson,
Oof.
Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford.
He played well.
Joe Flacco.
Mm.
The one you left off the list that feels intentional.
I didn't leave anybody off the list.
Aaron Rodgers. And Phillip
He's still
Rivers.
playing? Wait, is he still playing?
So out of that group,
play well in 3-4 years.
Out of that group, only Matthew Stafford is really still playing at a high level.
Oh, at an average level. I mean, like he's the only one playing at average.
Okay. Yes.
He's playing above average.
Yes.
Everyone else is below average.
Yes.
And yes, I'm including the golden boy that everybody loves who can't throw a pass more than 4 yards now.
Now, I'm not saying that to say that Jared Goff in 5 years can't be playing good football, but I don't think the line should be banking on it. I think you should be banking on 3 to 4 years at a decently high level. Then you're talking like maybe you're starting to hit that wall where you're like, okay, now you're just you're just an average quarterback. And I think anything like if you are planning, first of all, like I don't think any general manager is planning 5 years and beyond. That's very hard to do at this point.
Yeah. May not be there.
Right.
Right.
Right. I think a realistic, hey, your Super Bowl window with Jared Goff is still there. Window is 4 years. Like 4 more seasons of Jared Goff, you could probably feel relatively comfortable that he won't hit a wall yet. And anything after that, he's going to have to defy some odds.
The thing that I believe gives me hope for Jared Goff's future is that he fits the profile of a guy who can play into his 30s. And that is one, he doesn't need to be mobile to win.
Yep.
A lot of the guys that do need to be mobile to win, when they lose their legs, they lose their game, and then it's a problem. He doesn't need that. He's also one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. And that is something that translates into longevity as well. So if you don't need the mobility to make your game successful, if you can be accurate, those things can keep you in the NFL longer. Right? No doubt. See guys that scramble. Like half those guys that you named are guys that made their livings for X, Y, or Z reasons, escaping the pocket or maybe just mobility in whole. But if that's part of your game and you lose them and you can't translate, well, your career's
Totally.
going to fall off a cliff. And we've seen that with several guys, including most of the ones you named there.
All right. Next question here comes from Phenoms on Twitter. Says the Athletics. What's his first name? Mays. Gosh, I'm so used to Cade Mays that's the first thing that I hear now. Robert Mays. Robert Mays. Sorry.
Yep.
On his podcast, the Athletic Football Podcast, ranked the Lions supporting cast 9th best in the NFC, while Derek Klassen had him 3rd. Instead of arguing it, I want to ask for a pie chart between Dan, the offensive coordinator, play caller, Goff, the offensive line, and skill position weapons for who's responsible for the offense being so explosive. So really quick, just in case anyone listening doesn't know what any of this is about, over on the Athletic Football Podcast, Robert Mays, Derek Klassen, they ranked the best supporting casts on offense for the NFC. So that is basically everything other than the quarterback. So you include all the things that Phenoms is asking you. Your head coach, your play caller, or not Goff, but offensive line skill position players. And while Mays had him 9th, he did kind of backtrack today and say, you know what, after I thought about it, I think I was kind of punishing them a little bit too much for just having a new offensive coordinator and not thinking about Petzing's experience and not thinking about all the skill position players and some of the offensive line moves that they made last year. And so he was like, you know what, maybe I have them more towards 4th or 5th rather than 9th in the NFC. But anyways, let's get to the actual question here, which is percentage of things that matter in an offense being the Lions offense being explosive. Dan Campbell, the offensive coordinator, Goff, offensive line, and skill positions.
It's hard to say. Like I get the idea that you want that we're looking for percentages on right. It's hard because it's going to vary by opponent, right? And so
Sure.
like there's going to be games when the offensive line is more important. There's going to be games when the skill players are more important. The coaches are going to need to be consistent, right? So like you could probably put a number on Dan and Petzing and say that number is probably not going to change that much. Maybe it varies a little bit if you're playing an opponent you're familiar with, or against the Vikings team, they have a really good defensive coordinator, right? Like that may fluctuate things overall. But would it be better to maybe just rank them?
I'm
as
going to give
opposed to
percentages.
adding
you can
percentages?
do whatever you want.
Right.
I'm going to actually answer the question.
I'm going to think about it a little bit more.
Okay.
Because it's such a
It's a difficult question.
Yeah, I don't think it's fixed is what I guess I'm getting at, right? So I'm gonna let you go first and I'm gonna think about it a little bit more.
Sure.
And then I'll chime in.
It's going to sound a little weird, but I'm going to put Goff and the offensive line at the exact same level. I'm going to have them each 30%. Obviously, the quarterback is the thing that generally matters most when it comes to your offense being successful. And Jared Goff is a huge part of why the Lions offense has been successful. I think if he's not part of that Matthew Stafford trade, this franchise would be floundering right now, unless they had somehow found their rookie quarterback in the draft, which is always hard to do. But Goff is also very reliant on a good offensive line, like most quarterbacks, but more so than most quarterbacks. And the Lions are also so reliant on their run game that the offensive line, to me, is just as important as the quarterback in this particular offense. So we got both those guys at 30%. The Lions have invested a ton in skill position players. If you're talking about specifically, the question was why they are so explosive. Jahmyr Gibbs is why they're explosive. Jameson Williams is why they're explosive. Sam Laporta is why they're explosive. So they're next because those are players that can get you explosive plays. Amon-Ra doesn't necessarily get you explosive plays, but it gets you in the end zone. So obviously he's involved in there too. Give me 20% for them. So now I'm up to 80%. Give me 10 for Dan, 10 for the offensive coordinator. And I know those sound low, and in a lot of ways they are. But given that last year was a disaster under John Morton, their offensive coordinator, and they were still a top 5 scoring offense, they were still a top 10 offense by pretty much any metric you can throw out there, that shows me that you can still succeed in spite of your offensive coordinator. And we also attribute a lot of their struggles last year to offensive line plays. So I'm not trying to say coaching doesn't matter, because it obviously does. But with the Lions, with where they're at currently, a lot of stuff that makes them successful have already been baked in to the guys that are here. Jared Goff knows the system and knows what this team does well. So does the offensive line. So does a lot of these skill position players. They know what works. They just need someone to call the right play. I think so much of what, and maybe that would actually bump Jared Goff up a little bit. He could probably take 5% away from the offensive coordinator, because I think he does a lot of the things that an offensive coordinator does at this point.
So Jared Goff is 35% and Petzing is 5%?
That's right.
Yikes. That's I'm going to put more weight into the coaches than
that's
you
fair.
do.
It's definitely it feels too low. But again, my argument is that last year they had bad coaching and they were still
right,
not up to their own standards, but a really good offense.
But I think we also saw that when you have bad coaching, how bad things can go.
Sure.
Right? Despite all the talent. Okay. For me, it doesn't matter if you have Ferraris at wide receiver if your offensive line can't give you the time to get them out of the garage, right?
Yep.
So the skill players, as important as they are, they're typically the final piece of the puzzle for me.
Okay.
I agree with you that the offensive line and the quarterback are
1A, 1B.
the most prominent, but I do think you're underselling the coaching aspect. And I'm going to actually say, I'm actually going to agree with you in the fact that I think Dan is more important than the offensive coordinator. Because you had him at 10% and you had Petzing at 5.
Petzing to 5, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could have said
sorry, Drew.
You could have said they're both at 7.5 and been fair about it, or nice about it. But you just took it all off Petzing and said, Petzing, you're the least important person to this offense.
We already cashed Petzing's check. I don't need to hype him up anymore.
I think you're underselling the coaching rules a little bit, in my opinion, because having the right game plan, installing the right game plan is a massive component in setting those skill players up. And yes, the players on the field are the ones who have to execute it. But I would say a lot of my frustration last year derived from the coaching staff not adjusting to something.
Sure.
Or not having the right game plan, or when it was very obvious to take this approach, they took a different approach and it didn't work. And then they were like, I don't know why it didn't work. And we saw some bad coaching last year. And so getting this coaching mindset correct is going to be the biggest catalyst in this offense. I think not only staying in the top 5, but maybe even getting into the top 3. I still don't know if I'm going to give them a higher percentage or even a level percentage as maybe Goff and the offensive line, but I might put them above the skill players even. That's kind of how I value the coaches. I think and maybe it's just this year and knowing that in coming off a season where we saw some bad coaching, and maybe I'm reacting to this, but I feel like with this year's Lions team, coaching is going to be a massive factor, and the two together may make up half of what the offense needs to succeed.
We'll put those 2021 skill positions players back out there and see how you feel.
I look.
You want Tyrell Williams as wide receiver one?
You're gonna put Anthony Lynn out there too because that was all part of it, right? So, yeah. I'm just saying.
He's a good coach.
Thanks, Mike.
Where were we? Solomon J.
Yep.
One of our Pride Detroit direct subscribers says, with a lot of new members on the offensive line, could you talk about how an offensive line communicates or builds synergy? Follow-up question, could Taylor Decker missing most practices last year be part of the why Christian Mahogany struggled? Was his play affected by not being able to build synergy with Decker?
That's a great point. I hadn't really thought of that. But to get back to the first question, you need to be able to move in unison, like a dance, right? You have to be able to make these fast, powerful movements, yet stay within 6 inches to a foot of the player next to you, who's also making these huge, and these are big bodies, and to be able to move with fluidity like that, it takes a lot of snaps together, right? It takes the practice of getting that dance down. And then with the communication, it's about being able to read what's happening in front of you, passing off blocks. You get that through, again, comfort and experience. You get that by being able to communicate with each other. With a new center, you're going to have to learn like his rhythm on making the snap, right? Yeah. Right. He's going to have to learn Goff, right? And Goff's cadence, right? So there's going to be a learning experience there. And then making the pre-snap reads, making the post-snap reads. Those are all going to be factors. And that comes with just the experience of moving together. And if you're going to stick with outside zone, which it seems like they're going to still want to do that, especially with Gibbs' success in it, that's another like fluid movement in unison in order to make it operate.
Yep.
And so I hadn't really considered Decker's absence affecting Mahogany, but it's certainly possible, right? Sure. Because if you're taking snaps with Manu next to you and then game day shows up and you got Decker, they move very differently.
Yeah.
Right? Like they do. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, moving forward, Manu is more athletic. Moving backwards, Decker had capable movement. Right. Manu still trying to get there. So yeah, that certainly could have played a factor. Excellent point, Solomon.
Yeah, the only thing I really have to add is, the communication at some point almost becomes nonverbal, especially when you're talking about seconds into the play, when you're, when someone is searching for a guy to block, you can't communicate that with someone, right? When you're making a down block, when you're getting to the second level and finding a guy, like, you have to know where each person is going to be. And a lot of that is built off of expectation. A lot of that is built off of how the play is designed. But sometimes, like, you have to ad-lib a little bit and you get to know the tendencies of the players next to you. And like, oh, well, I know if this guy is inside this hash, then he's going to go after him. And like, you can only get those through reps. It's not like, obviously you're communicating at all times. You're communicating on the practice field. You're communicating in the film room, team meetings, all those things. You're communicating with each other, but until you get out there and actually start blocking guys, actually, defenses are sliding right before the snap. Until you get those reps in, it's hard to really build that chemistry. And it's why I'm expecting that the Lions offensive line to not necessarily like extremely struggle out of the gate, but like not be where they need to be right out of the gate, because there are so many new combinations across the board.
Yeah, I think they're going to get play in the preseason a little bit. Yeah. That's going to help them as well.
Yep.
If they don't, it'd be a good sign that the coaches believe that they're True. Communicating well. But it might raise some concerns, which I think would be valid. But again, I'm expecting them to play in the preseason because everyone, like you pointed out last podcast or maybe the one before, everyone is playing next to someone that they didn't play next to last year.
Yep.
And so There's
No
a
joint
lot of
practices.
yep, there's a lot of movements to get used to. Yeah, that certainly should point to them playing in the preseason as well.
All right, last one. We're going to stick with the offensive line. Jeff J, another Pride of Detroit direct subscriber, asks, with Panay being at left tackle now, how do you think it will change our play designs? We often use his talent and athleticism to get him out wide, leading the way on Gibbs, screens, and wide runs. Is it as easy as just doing the same thing on the left side, or will they also rely on Miller for similar stuff? And how is Miller's skill set at those things?
Well, he's not Panay because no one is, but he can. He can get out and do it. He did it at Clemson.
Better than Decker would have been.
Yes. Oh, certainly.
Yes.
Yeah, certainly. It's not even. I don't think it's close. Maybe he's even more athletic than Decker 5 years ago. Type of athleticism. So the way Clemson ran their scheme is they kind of ran their entire front like they were all guards, right? Like they all pulled and they all did like, and it's just, that's one of the nuances of college football. Now they still have to do tackle things, especially in pass protection, but in the run game, they weren't afraid to pull their tackles. And so Miller, he'd get out there and he'd do some looping stuff. And so that element is still going to be there for the Lions. At the same time, going back to what Jeff pointed out at the beginning of the question, they can easily do it on the left side as well, because you don't want to lose the stuff that Panay does,
right?
Because he's such just a freak of nature and being able to do it. So you get the ball lined up on the right hash and you want to run a little swing and pull him on the left. Great. Just line up some tight ends, do a little couple crack blocks, loop him around, get him out in space in front of Gibbs, and let him go to work. And so, yeah, I think there's several things that you can do on the left side that you did on the right, but you can also, with Miller's athleticism, you also have some flexibility to keep stuff that you had in place previously.
Yeah, I don't think they would have moved Panay to left if they would have been like, well, there go all those, swing passes
right.
and screen things. The one thing to consider, though, is like it does require not just Panay Sewell to adjust, but like everyone to adjust. Like now, Gibbs has to run in the opposite direction. If Jared is going to have to turn the opposite direction to hand the ball off. Now, they were doing those things anyways. It's not like Jared Goff doesn't know how to turn left to hand the ball off, or Gibbs can't take a first step to the left. Like they know how to do all those things, but like maybe they're doing it a little bit more right now. They have to, I don't know, just like increase the likelihood that they're going to go in the other direction now. It's not a major transition. It's not something that's different, but it is an alteration that maybe you don't always think about when you think about just one person changing their position, how it can kind of shift the balance in how everyone else operates as well. But yeah, I was also going to say that because like I remember when I dug into Miller's tape more so after the draft, and I did start to see them do some of the stuff that Oregon did with Panay, which is like, yeah, go out and get him in space, go out there and put a safety on his ass. Like Miller's capable of doing a lot of that stuff too. And so if anything, I think the addition of Miller plus Panay going to the left, I think expands their opportunity to run those plays now on both sides of the field.
Yeah, that's the difficult thing with watching college and trying to project those offensive linemen to the NFL is that so many schemes now operate like that, where they're trying to get movement from their offensive line and they run like this fast passing game. And so you use tackles like you would use guards in the NFL, and it makes evaluating difficult. And it's also why you see during draft time a lot of offensive tackles that they project to guard. Like, look at Caleb Proctor, right?
Sure.
Or
Caden.
I know. I was you did it the other day, and it threw me off, and I was in my head thinking, "Don't say it." Caden Proctor,
yeah,
right? They're shifting him in guard. Are they shifting Maui Noah in? Right? Like, and so these guys, the college game doesn't do the tackles any favors,
right?
In transitioning to the NFL, but it's one of the reasons why finding a good offensive tackle in the draft is like it's such an incredibly valuable
No, no.
commodity, right?
Yep.
But what you're getting now is you're getting guys like Panay and Werfs and that can do these kind of unique things because of how their college systems utilize them. And I don't think I'm not saying Miller's going to be at their level, but I mean he's certainly more athletic than I think what most people are expecting.
All right, I think we'll leave this show at that. If you want to be part of next week's show, you can always send in questions using the Pride of Detroit Twitter account. Usually do so on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. We usually record these on Wednesday. Next week is going to be a little bit different because minicamp is also Wednesday, but we'll keep you updated. You can check our social medias with updates. Sometimes we'll put it on the website over on the feed maybe. But either way, you can go to our YouTube page, our Twitch page, and just get alerts every time we go live, or you can get alerts every time a new podcast drops on whatever podcasting platform you prefer. But until next time, that's Eric over there. I'm Jeremy. Thank you all for listening. It's chaos. Be kind.
Recording stopped.
All right. We'll hang out for a little bit, maybe 20, maybe we'll run till 9 o'clock. If you guys got some questions, if you guys don't have any questions, we can all just get out of here and watch Tigers, watch basketball, whatever your jam is. Eat some dinner. Watch some Lions OTA highlights.
I hope you've eaten some dinner at this point.
I did.
Good.
Lions are posting more highlights, which I like. You guys want to watch some OTA highlights really quick? They posted 3 today. Here's Malik with a one-hander. Ooh. Oh, they got refs there already? I didn't even know they brought out refs for OTAs. Hold on, let's see if you got both feet in. Possession. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good right there. That's possession in 1, 2 feet. We're going to give it to him.
Oh, there's certainly more.
Yeah. Refs are not always there.
Nope.
I don't think I saw... Refs weren't there either as we were at.
I'm telling you, they're just doing stuff. They're doing all the fun stuff. The days
when
the
we're not
media
there.
aren't
I
there.
think so too. Like we didn't get to see any 7-on-7s last time we were there.
Yep. It's all part of the game, man. They're going to try and be all secretive this year.
I don't like
and well,
all right, we got Teddy at quarterback. I believe that's 25 is Sailors, is that right? Out of the backfield. Running a little Texas. He ran a little Texas, but they didn't throw it to him. I'm not sure who 80 is, but look at that play by Avante. Getting high.
80 is got to be Duplessis, I would think, because he's the only one I don't have a number for, and no one has 80, so must be Duplessis, the new guy.
Yeah, I mean they're doing red zone 7-on-7s. I would kill for that. Give me some red zone 7-on-7s tomorrow, please.
Nah,
please.
No, dude, vanilla.
Is that the only? Oh, that was the only one. By the way. This tweet doesn't get made if I didn't tweet about it in the morning. The Washington Post crossword. I'm taking credit for that. I posted it at like 8 in the morning. My computer's frozen! Alright, that's it, I guess. Got some questions? Have Lions said anything that they're doing this year to preserve player health? Nope.
I mean, nothing other than what they normally do.
Yeah.
Right?
Dan gets very defensive when you ask about that. Not saying like that's a reason you shouldn't ask about it again, but he's like, listen, it'll give the answer that he always does, which is like, they're freak accidents. Like, what do you want us to say? Like, Achilles happen, ACLs happen. I mean, happened during Lovett's thing, non-contact ACL.
Law?
Like, what did I say? Kendrick?
Love it. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Kendrick Law. ACL tear. Non-contact. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Jeremy, will your training camp takes be more muted this year after backlash from last year when allegedly everyone looked amazing, but the Packers game was a train wreck and the Lions didn't keep 53?
The hard part with training camp is that we're looking for positives all the time. That's what you're looking for. And you're not looking for like the starters that you know are good, right? So you spend a lot of training camp looking at who are the reserves, who are the guys competing for jobs, who are the guys that are separating themselves from others. And so you're constantly reporting on how they're looking against each other and who's looking good and who's finding success. Overall, observations tend to be optimistic because you're trying to point out things where you think the team is improving, and the criticisms are going to be there, but they're not going to show, I think, as frequently, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not trying to bash guys who are learning in training camp. We're trying to point out guys that are having success. So we are generally, and I mean this like we in the media sense, I think observations tend to be more on the positive side because you're looking for things. But then we go into the preseason, and a lot of the guys that we thought looked like, it wasn't just us that thought Jackson Meeks looked good. Everybody was screaming for Meeks, right? Like fans saw Meeks and they were like, oh my gosh, he's going to make it. We saw Meeks. We thought he played well too. We reported that he played well because he was playing well. The fact that he didn't make the team means he just wasn't up to where they were, what they were like looking for. They had 6 other guys that they wanted to keep, right? And so that's the route that they took. And so I don't think there was an error, and I think in the approach to how we covered training camp. Like the Dolphins look like crap. They're like they did.
And they were.
There's no disputing that.
Yeah.
But like there were a lot of guys, like we've talked about this before. Terrion looked great in training camp and then didn't look great in the regular season. So like I don't think I'm not going to change the way that I write my observations because it's the way I've been doing it for 10 years, or more, whatever, right? And I'm looking for the optimism in who's someone the fans should be paying attention to. But the fact that they went out and had a stinker in the first game, no one saw that coming, right? Like really, who saw that coming other than the Packers writers who were talking about it being their Super Bowl and stuff like that because the Lions had swept them the past couple of years. So I'm not going to change how I report on training camp.
I guess I'm having a hard time understanding the question because I'm not really sure like what my takes were. Like,
no, I think it's just in general, like all the takes were like the Lions are looking good, and then they go into the opener.
But that's not how I report. But that's not how we report on training camp. We report on training camp like, here's who was good today, here's who was playing where. I don't be like, wow, that was a Super Bowl level practice. Like I don't say that. The other like the tricky part for me with training camp is that if like. I think this is kind of how last year went. It's like, wow, like this defense is creating a lot of disruption, right? This defense is playing better than we've seen them against this offense in years. Now, in retrospect, that was probably telling us more about the offense than it was the defense. Mm-hmm. But how are we supposed to know that? When you're
every play, someone
has
has a good play and someone has a bad play.
Exactly.
Every play.
Yes. So when like the defense is constantly getting pressure on the quarterback, you can take that two ways. Like, uh-oh, there's offensive line trouble, or, wow, that pass rush is starting to look good. And there was reasons to believe both of those things, right? Like, there were enough changes on the offensive line where you could have taken that as a bad sign.
There was no Decker for half of training camp,
True.
right?
Also
and we
true.
reported
Yes.
reported that. We were like,
yes,
Skipper is not it. Like, we were awfully negative about that if
Yes.
Decker can't play, this team's in trouble.
Yes. And I think we bring this up all the time, though, is like every time we report something good about what happens at Lions training camp, that also means something bad happened at Lions training camp. And you have to consider
like
both
95%,
things.
right. Like 95% of the time, it's like that. There's only 5% of the plays where it was a good play, but it was just better by one side. You know what
because we only get 3 joint practices, this year's 0, and 0 time with the starters in preseason, like, we don't have anything else to compare the offensive line play other than against this defensive line. And so it just becomes very hard to put everything in perspective from a larger league point of view, because we are just honed in on Taylor Decker going up against Aiden Hutchinson or whatever it is, this year. So, I mean, anytime you are listening to takes or reports or analysis from training camp, like, that should be built into your own experience as a consumer. Anything you're experiencing here is just based on a practice standpoint, and it's just based on Lions versus Lions. We don't know what that's going to look like. Lions versus Bears, Lions versus Packers, Lions versus whoever. I'd like to hope that most of my reporting out of training camp is through that lens, that I remind people of that as much as possible, that I don't make sweeping conclusions about the team based on a limited amount of practices. But, like, it's certainly possible I get swept up in the excitement. I'm excited. Training camp is one of my favorite times of year. I want the team to do well. So if my coverage has swung optimistic last year in particular, but like in several consecutive years, I guess I'll try to do better, but at the same time, I don't think I'm doing anything. I don't think it was.
I think it's more of a generalization.
Yeah,
I think that was. I don't think.
I think what most people were mad about was the Terrion stuff, and in that case, like, I don't know what to tell you, man.
He looked great.
He was great.
Yeah.
The coaching staff said he was looking great too, so it wasn't just like my novice eyes looking at everything. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was weird. It was weird that didn't translate at all. You honestly don't see that often, unless you're talking about like guys that are dominating on the third string defensive line. Like, those guys can dominate training camp and not amount to anything. But like when your starters are playing pretty freaking well for all of training camp, usually that translates. Sorry if I got defensive there. I didn't mean to. Can you each pick a bubble player you hope personally plays well enough to make the roster? I like that question. I haven't really thought about bubble players yet. Is it like I'm kind of rooting both for Skylar Gill-Howard and Mekhi Wingo, even though they're fighting for the same spot? Like, I'd love to see Mekhi Wingo like break out in year 3, and he's a very nice guy, and some of the things he's flashed are like honestly very exciting. If he could just string it together more often and be a little bit maybe less of a liability in the run game. But Gill-Howard's story is also awesome, and he also seems like a really good dude. So like that's almost like a win-win competition for me, and I think the more likely winner is your 6th round rookie than third-year guy who hasn't done much, but both those guys I'm excited about.
Hassanin?
Classic.
I think Hassanin, I think he's very much a bubble player, but man, I'd love for him to turn into something. You know what I mean? Even if it's just a sub-package rush guy, which is probably best case scenario, right?
Yeah.
But Hassanin, everything's there, right?
Yeah.
The backstory, the energy, the excitement, the personality, the ability to learn, and then does one of the most important parts of the game, pass rush, right? So
Yep.
I think Hassanin is the guy that I'll really be like rooting for.
I'm trying to, like, honestly, I don't know. I don't know if there's a lot of other guys. Like, there is part of me that, like, is very intrigued by the Seth McLaughlin signing. And if he could somehow win the backup center job, that'd be cool. But, like, I'm also talking about the backup center job. Like, a guy who, if everything goes right, never sees the field. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. We got about 5 more minutes here. Here's a good one. To your best guess, why do you think there's still 3 open roster spots?
I think we got that question over on YouTube.
Yeah.
Do you think the guys will add any more UFL players to camp? I think that's it. I think they don't feel like they need to fill those spots right now. They have 2 open roster spots, and then they'll get a third when they move Law, most likely to IR. And so, yeah, I think they'll wait, see the UFL guys, try and bring some couple guys in for tryouts, fill some roster holes that maybe they maybe uncovered during camp. Maybe it's an injury, and then you add a guy like Duplessis, right? And I think that's really just it's that type of thing. I don't think they're in a rush to add guys just to add guys. They're not that style of organization.
Right. I mean, they made that loud and clear last year when they only kept 50 on the roster, right?
Right.
The UFL championship is this weekend.
Oh, it is?
Can you name me a team that's in the
Nope.
UFL championship?
Nope.
I have not won. I have not.
Birmingham. Is Birmingham in
That's
there?
a good bet. Haven't they won it like every year?
I think most of them, right?
I have not watched a single second of the UFL this year, and part of it is definitely me being petty for the Michigan Panthers being gone.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't think it started yet. I didn't think the season started yet.
It is the DC Defenders and the Louisville Kings.
I was so close to Birmingham with Birmingham. Louisville and Birmingham, they're like neighbors, aren't they?
Sure. Who are the Louisville Kings? They're not.
No
Tell me
idea.
they're not. What?
The Michigan ones? They might
Yeah.
be.
Doesn't say on their Wikipedia.
What? Baloney.
But like I haven't even seen people tweet about it. I haven't seen it. I haven't been flipping through channels and seen that it's on.
I'm gonna look
weird.
at their roster. Let's see what they got.
The Louisville Kings.
First player right off the bat. Let me make sure
Who's that?
the right guy I'm thinking about.
I see Steel Chambers.
Yeah, ready? First guy right off the bat, Jonathan Adams, wide receiver. He was a UDFA for the Lions.
On what team?
Remember him? Louisville. I'm going alphabetically.
I don't see it on the Wikipedia page.
No, I'm on their actual website.
That probably is more reliable.
I
don't remember him.
Tariq Black. That's a
he's
former
on IR.
Michigan
That's
guy.
why.
Former Michigan guy. Isaiah Bolden. Isn't he? I feel
Bryce
like
Hall is in the UFL?
Juwan Bushell-Beatty, another Michigan guy.
Hmm.
Offensive tackle. Yep, Steel Chambers. Oh my gosh. He had so much potential, I thought, at the time. Cameron Dantzler? Oh my God. How is he there?
We're essentially just playing the game of dudes naming players right now.
Well, Dantzler was drafted pretty high. He started from Minnesota for a while.
3rd round pick.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an article. Maybe there's a hey, remember these guys on the Lions who are now playing in the UFL
Well,
championship?
there's only a couple former Lions.
Well, let's look at the DC Defenders. DC Defenders. I should probably have these on screen so you guys can enjoy it too. DC Defenders roster.
Boogie Basham. Holy cow.
Who?
I liked Boogie. Boogie
Boogie,
Basham.
Boogie Basham.
I liked him.
There he is. He was a second round pick. Dang.
Yeah. Kiki Kuti was a Texan
Excuse
for a
me.
while. Kiki Kuti. Kote. I don't know. That's how it says.
Great name. I don't really recognize anyone else.
Not as former Lions that I'm getting there. I don't see many former Lions here.
Mm-mm. Jordan Teamu,
Oh.
but he's on IR.
Ooh.
Frank coming out of retirement. I'm going to go see Frank on Friday. True story. I'm going to go to his little charity event.
That sounds fun, man.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to stay for the whole thing, but
No, you just stay for the media part.
which is at the very beginning.
Call it a day.
I'm interested to see, one, what Lions media members come, and two, what kind of questions he gets. Because there's a lot that we don't know about. We haven't talked to Frank in quite some time.
You know what's going to happen, right? Like, the PR person's going to come out ahead. Frank's PR person's going to come out ahead of time.
He's
and be
not
like,
going to talk about this. He's not going to talk about that.
Yep. I get that all the time.
Yeah, and you know what's going to happen after that?
Someone's going to forget.
Burkett's going to ask him anyways. But I mean, like, just thinking about all the things that are still out, like, we haven't talked to him about the injury, the second injury, the attempted comeback. We haven't talked to him about Rod Wood
retirement.
reaching into his piggy bank.
You could have went the rest of the night without mentioning him again.
Should be interesting. You'll obviously get some report backs. I imagine we're gonna get a lot of no comments, but
You just keep this between me and the team. Let me ask that question a different way and see if you answer it then.
yeah.
I'll just keep no.
All right, it's 9:01, which means we're going to get out of here. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. Thanks to MGO Korg for the 61 months, if I didn't say that. And Flynn Cod, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate y'all on YouTube as well. If you haven't already, check out Miko and Morgan's film breakdown of Derek Moore. That dropped earlier today. We've got a Derek Moore First Bite dropping for Pride of Detroit Direct subscribers on Friday. I submitted an article for Pride of Detroit Direct that probably is going to be in your inbox tomorrow morning. Thought it was going to drop today, but it looks like my editor did not get to it. So, and then we'll also have a OTA recap video for Pride of Detroit Direct subscribers tomorrow afternoon as well. And then we're going to record our final First Bite for the draft class tomorrow night as well. And I'm going to be on Ryan Walsh's radio show tomorrow night. Forgot what time that was, like 8 o'clock.
7 or 8. Usually 8.
Yeah.
Usually 8 for me.
I think that's right. But yeah, if you want to catch me on that, reach out.
The last time he had me on,
Mm-hmm.
he said, I don't have a final segment. Can you stick around for an extra, like, half a segment and like help me, eat up some time? And I was like, sure. And then we started talking about like in the weed stuff. Oh my, we were so far in the weeds.
That's radio, baby.
I was thinking there's no one. There's like 5 people that are going to care about what we were talking about.
That's sports talk radio. I mean, that's our between the segment stuff. That's why we talk about Buc-ee's, is because
no, man,
these are 3-hour shows.
I felt bad. I apologized after because I was like, We went to a place that I wasn't expecting to go. And he was like, "Oh, I like that." He was a nice guy about it.
He's a good dude.
Mhm.
All right. All right. That's all I got for you guys. We will see you Monday next time live. But again, you can catch us a whole bunch more content coming out even this week. So catch us over on the socials, on the other places, Pride Detroit Direct, blah, 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 blah. We'll see you soon.